Selectivity. This one's been on my mind because I've done a number of podcasts over time that have different aspects of this, different themes, and I want to focus on, again, a different aspect of this one. So one podcast I did talked about 98%, that we have to, if we want to be successful, uncover more possibilities. There's a famous book that talked about this, about risk and reward, and that people that are more successful, they gather more information, they go deeper. I mean, it just intuitively makes sense. Some people marry the first person they ever met, take the first job they ever encountered, and have their opinions based on very little research or, frankly, knowledge. And that's a superficial life. Maybe the first person you meet will be the person you're supposed to marry, but and I do believe in love at first sight also, but you might not even fully appreciate the person if they're the first person. Hopefully you would. But, as you go through life and have different experiences, you learn and you grow and you network and you are able to separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, there's a famous expression that says that all that glitters is not gold. And when you have like a lazy mind, then you just think that what glitters is gold because you haven't uncovered enough layers of the onion. You haven't done enough research. When you've experienced a lot more, that's why people that are in their 60s, by and large, can make better decisions than people in their 20s. There's a lot of exceptions. People in their 20s can be smarter than people in their 60s, but it's hard to beat life experience. And life experience comes from mistakes and successes. And but like they say, there's a big difference between 1 year of 20 years of experience and 1 year of experience 20 times. People achieve more in life for a lot of different reasons, but one reason is because people have better quality of decision making, and a better quality of decision making. Some people are just smarter, but one reason why people are smarter is because they dig deeper, they think deeper, they're not lazy in their thinking. Some people just always go to conventional wisdom, they don't actually think originally. People that are original thinkers and deep thinkers and hard workers and deep researchers, those people accomplish more. So back specifically to selectivity. So if you want to have a successful life, as I said in this other podcast, you have to reject 98% of the things, because you have to give up the higher to get the lower. Let's reverse that. You can do that. Some people do. That's why I'm laughing. They give up the higher to take the lower. No, you have to give up the lower to take the higher. They say don't let the good be the enemy, the great be the enemy of the good, or maybe that's backwards. But yeah, you do have to sometimes be satisfied, because perfectionism means that you'll wind up with nothing. They say half a loaf is better than none. I don't believe that half a loaf is better than none, because I think that if you settle maybe in the unimportant areas, like things that don't matter that much, because time is money, and if you can save some time, then that could be the overriding factor. But in the very important things in life, like your job, your marriage, your kids, half a loaf of a life is pathetic. So it may be that, based upon how important things are, that's how selective you should be. So in certain things, you should be like 98% selective. In other things, 80%, 60%. But by and large, on the most important things, you have to be 98% selective, because you're not going to have a quality of life if you just marry a good enough person. You're not going to have a quality of life if you just have a good enough job. And you have to investigate, and it's not a scientific process, because there's also love and everything else involved in it. But there is a lot of thought that goes into it, a lot of knowing yourself and things of that nature. So the other thing I want to say about rejecting 98% is that the converse or inverse, I'm not sure which word is better, also applies, which means that life is going to force you into what they call the straight and narrow. Like even in the Bible it says, broad is the way for making bad choices, but narrow. And that means that 98% of the things that you do or want in your life are going to be rejected, either by other people or by life in general, in order to get to your best. So I'm continually amazed by how many of my good ideas amount to nothing. Like they say, it's good ideas don't mean that much. Execution means more. You never know exactly which of your best ideas, or what you think are your best ideas, are going to resonate with other people. And there's studies that show that people that have not only good ideas, but a lot of ideas tend to become more well-known, like Shakespeare, Mozart, generate just huge amount of ideas. I'm not experts on those two people, but from my understanding. So life is going to reject most of your great ideas. You can't be like, oh, I'm holding on to this idea, no one's ever had it before. I've done that in my business, and I've I've worked like crazy to kind of like implement it because I know it is an incredible idea, but I've also supplemented it with other ideas that reinforce it, or can be related to it, or even independent, because you can't, like Warren Buffett says, diversification is for fools, basically. He doesn't use that language, but put all your eggs in one basket and then guard your life with the basket. There's some truth to that. People that are too diffuse, because in life it's competitive, if you're not focused, then you're not going to be successful. But the corollary is also true that life is going to bash down a lot of your ideas, and you have to have a lot of them. So it's kind of like a dance between being very focused and not getting distracted by things, because most people are very distractible, and making things happen, and at the same time being open to life and having enough variation so that life can decide what are your best ideas, because 98% of them are going to be batted down by life for whatever reason, or other people, just like you bat down, if you're very successful, 98% of the ideas that you have are opportunities as well.